Gloria Cole! I've spent way too long on the Colleen Hoover wiki and Goodreads for this. So here is Unhinged Colleen Hoover deep dive. Firstly, let's go into the origins of Colleen. Margaret Colleen Hoover is actually a counsellor, so I'm really worried for all her patients given what she thinks a healthy relationship looks like in her novels. Next, we're going to look at Colleen Hoover's rise to fame. In 2011, Colleen Hoover wrote her first book, Slammed, and sent it to a bunch of publishers, but then the publishers were like, this is trash, so we can't publish it. And then Colleen was like, fine. And this is actually kind of girl boss of Colleen, because Colleen's like, okay, I guess I'm just gonna have to self-publish it then. Colleen self-publishes it, and for some reason the book ends up getting a bunch of clout. So the publishers do a Uno reverse card and are like, okay, we're gonna publish the book. Colleen and the publishers both secure the bag, and then Colleen gets even more clout. So this is the plot of Slammed. We have the main character, Laken Cohen. I feel like Colleen Hoover was pissed at being called Margaret Hoover, so she named all of her characters with really insane names, and don't worry, it gets worse. So Laken, her dad dies, and instead of feeling grief or feeling bad that her dad's gone, instead she gets rizzed up by her neighbour, Will Cooper, and she basically sees Will for 1 second and is like, this is my man, this is my husband, the man for me, marry me now. Laken is also freshly 18 but acts like she's minus 10 years old, and her younger brother is like a trillion times more mature than her. And also Laken is not like the other girls, okay? There's literally quotes of her saying, I can't believe I'm like the other girls and I'm swooning over a guy, and also most girls would think he's hot but I'm not like other girls. So she's really just very unique because she doesn't find guys attractive, but then she also did find that guy attractive anyways. Another point to demonstrate Laken's maturity is that in a temper tantrum, she throws her chair and breaks it. Anyways, plot twist, turns out Will Cooper is her poetry teacher. And Laken's 18 and Will is 21. You know, first of all, I hate student-teacher romances because there's an imbalance of power and it can lead to just abusive relationships. So obviously Colleen was like, yes, this is what we're gonna have to write. But what happens is Mr. Cooper gets pissed at Laken, and then it's like, babe, I'm gonna put you and your friends in detention. And then Laken's like, fine. So she writes her homework assignment of a diss track poem, Kendrick Lamar, Who, Not Like Us, The Upgrade, and basically just disses like Mr. Cooper. And during the lessons, like Mr. Cooper is just like, yeah, let's talk about poetry, let's talk about caesura, let's talk about enjambment. Everyone else is concentrating, and then Laken is just in her head getting really horny over Mr. Cooper. She's wetter than the Indian Ocean, it's monsoon season, gravity falls, and literally I do not need to see this girl getting rizzed up by her teacher, and it's actually the romance. So I know the book is called Slammed because we're like, oh my gosh, slam poetry, but in reality it should also be called Slammed because Laken just slams doors, slams the chair, slams everything in every scene because she's like minus a million years old. It's already bad for a teacher to be dating his student, but especially one that acts like she's literally a fetus. Anyways, what happens is this trash student tries to force Laken to kiss her, and Will Cooper is there, Mr. Cooper, right? And Mr. Cooper actually beats up the student, but he does it because he's jealous. So imagine if Laken actually got rizzed by him and then they ended up kissing. Mr. Cooper would have gone ballistic and attacked an innocent student. Riz. It turns out that Laken's mum has cancer. How did I expect Laken to react? The complete opposite of what she did. She got mad at her mum because obviously her mum just chose to have cancer. That's definitely the way it works. When the mum's like, I have cancer, Laken just gets mad, has another tantrum, runs out of the house. Like, instead of offering any sort of emotional support to her mum, she's like, no, fuck that bitch, she's gonna die anyways. So she literally gets pissed at her mum, runs out of the house, and stays in Mr. Cooper's house, in Mr. Cooper's bed. So then the mum is obviously like, what the fuck is my child doing? Should have got an abortion, what the fuck? And then Laken's like, my mom is so rude. And then Mr. Cooper and the mum have to negotiate because Mr. Cooper is literally holding her hostage and it's like, no, you're not allowed to see your daughter. Like, the mum already has cancer, but now she has to deal with her daughter literally rizzing up the teacher. So the mum obviously actually has brain cells, and the mum is the only character in this book with actual brain cells. So she's like, Laken, what the hell? You can't be rizzing up your teacher. And the teacher's like, well, I'm young and she's mature, she's so mature, so it's fine. Like, amazing justification, Mr. Cooper. I do not support this behavior. And also, why is everyone making him their book boyfriends? He's into students. So after this book, Colleen writes 2 sequels that also get an insane amount of clout. So because Colleen is getting so much clout, and also the public opinion about Colleen at the time is very positive. There's no Colleen Hoover slander, or like barely any. No one's talking about it. Everyone's just rizzed up by Colleen. Then in 2014, Colleen releases her book Ugly Love, which actually gets an insane amount of clout. So Ugly Love follows Tate Collins, and basically Tate Collins is introduced to the love interest when he's insanely drunk and crying over his diseased wife, right? And then Tate is like, yeah, this definitely seems like a man who's definitely in a mentally stable place to be in a relationship. So Miles and Tate are like, oh my gosh, let's smash. But Miles has 2 rules. Rule number 1, don't ask about the past. Rule number 2, never expect a future. And Tate is like, I'm literally in love with this man, but I'll take what I can get, because Tate's like 3 personality traits are no self-respect, no self-love, and no self-worth. Because is she actually okay? So the love interest is called Miles Archer. What an amazing, unique, like, this book is just making me want to like have characters with called like Bob Green, Vijay Patel, you know, the most basic names. Because what is this? Anyways, Miles Archer is like, oh my god, let's smash. And then they end up being friends with benefits. But then also Miles actually hires Tate as his therapist. Not officially, like he doesn't pay her. She just like, he just trauma dumps on her, and she's like. And also 50% of the book is a love story, or whatever the fuck you can call this, between Tate and Miles. And then 50% is just Miles' tragic backstory, where he's really upset that his ex-wife is dead, and it's like flashbacks with him and his ex-wife. So it's kind of like we get 2 love stories for the price of 1. Tate is actually really falling in love with Miles. So instead of thinking, maybe instead of smashing this man 24/7 who's made it clear he doesn't want to be in a relationship with me, I should instead carry on smashing him and make it worse. Like, we love big brain decisions. And then Miles is just like really sad, and he's like, I'm never going to be in a relationship because like it's just hurting me. I should, and instead of taking time to heal, he's like, instead of getting therapy, I can just use smashing bitches. So he just smashes Tate like as a therapy substitute. It's giving BetterHelp. Miles' tragic backstory is that his mum, his child, and his wife all died. So his like family had a Thanos Infinity Snap. So he's obviously really traumatized, but instead of actually getting therapy, because he can afford therapy. And then Tate is like 0.0000001% chance he's gonna fall in love with me. I'll just take the L and carry on smashing me until he realizes how amazing I am, because that's definitely how it would actually work. Tate also writes Miles a love poem, because they're definitely in a relationship, definitely. Let me read the poem. Miles smiles for no one else. Miles only smiles for me. Slammed who? Mr. Cooper who? I can't remember the girl's name. Rupi Kaur's entire career has been destroyed. She has been upgraded to Andrew Tate Collins. Tate is also so obsessed with this man that she's like, say the word ox. So then Miles goes, ox. And then she's like, ox is my new favorite word. So like every 0.01 seconds, every single time Miles says a word, Tate's new favorite word changes. And just every single word Miles has said, like if we just get a calculation of how many times Miles has said a word, the words he says the most are basically Tate's favorite words, because obviously she's not allowed to like a word other than for a reason that Miles said it. Miles Archer. So because of Miles' 2 rules, Tate is like, okay, I'm obviously not going to get in a relationship with him. But Miles' wife died 6 years ago. And because he hasn't had sex or kissed anyone in 6 years, Tate is like, we're basically in a relationship, because even though he says he doesn't want to date me and only wants to have sex with me, he hasn't had sex with anyone in 6 years. Honestly, the biggest bodacious brain decision. Miles is actually really toxic, but it's actually okay, guys, because he has a tragic anime backstory, and as we know, anyone who has a tragic anime backstory does not need to take any accountability. There's also this lovely quote which just demonstrates how amazing Miles is. Let me read it. And Tate says the quote where she's like, if any other man treated me like he did, it would be the one only time. I make excuses for him. This is toxicity defined. If Colleen actually intended to write a book of a toxic relationship and this was the point, and then Tate actually gets self-respect and leaves, I would applaud her. But she just accidentally made her romance book have the most insane toxic relationship ever. So Miles is basically my book boyfriend, marry me now, use me for sex, obviously. Tate and Miles are literally smashing for the trillionth time, and then Miles moans, oh my god, Rachel instead of Tate, because Rachel is the name of his ex-wife. Like during the moment when they're smashing, Tate is like, it's just like still so riz that she's just like, carry on, I don't care, I'll be Rachel for you. Anyways, they finish, and then Tate actually kind of develops 0.0001% more of self-respect, and she's like, wait a second, I need to actually leave. So Tate is like, this is for Rachel, you big fat white nasty smelling fat bitch, where you took me off the motherfucking schedule with your trifling dirty white racist big fat bitch and booty ass bitch. Tate gets pissed at Miles. Miles is like, I have a tragic anime backstory, so that like neutralizes the effect. And then Tate is like, shut up. So then Tate leaves, and then Miles is like, like, I should probably apologize. Do I mean it? No, but also I want pussy. So then Miles actually apologizes to Tate. Miles is horny, so then he comes up with a fake YouTuber apology, and Tate actually takes zero accountability and just says one word. So then Miles is like, toxic gossip train, and Tate is actually rizzed by his amazing vocals, and then they end up getting together and have a child. Their daughter's called Sam, hashtag save Sam, hashtag justice for Sam, hashtag poor Sam, hashtag call social services. Actually no, social services literally don't do anything, like in my experience, but call someone, call super nanny, what is going on? Anyways, if you weren't rizzed enough by Miles, here's a lovely quote from him on the wiki. Here are the Miles quotes that literally the Colleen Hoover stans made the wiki, so these are the most notable things about the character. Oh my gosh, also from before the book about Slammed, for basically the girl MC doesn't have any quotes on the wiki, and the guy Will Cooper, his only quote is "May the Force be with you." I love Star Wars, but I do not stan Will. Anyways, here are the Miles quotes. We have, my name isn't Buddy, it's Miles. Book boyfriend, I'm not a zombie, zombies can't fly. Book boyfriend, I'm not gay, never have been, I'm pretty sure I never will be. What the hell, man? Why does Miles literally come up with 3 different sentences about how not gay he is? Bro literally comes out with an entire essay. It's giving zesty. And then the last quote is, the only condom I have in my wallet has probably disintegrated by now. Oh my god, the man for us. There's also a scene where Miles and Rachel bully their son's balls for being too big, because we love insulting your infant child. And they're like, we both make fun of our son's huge gargantuan balls, ha ha ha. And then I'm like, what is this? Like, please get help. All of the Tate quotes I literally have 0 personality traits, apart from this one where she says, if I were to screw a guy in my bedroom for 3 hours, then good for me. If Miles was actually a slave person, then get a girl, screw him for 3 hours. But Miles, that is actually so low self-respect. Like, also the people I was like, I can literally see me. ASMR baby crying sounds outside, hashtag justice for Sam. You know how there's that statistic, like, I don't know, 20% of your life is spent scrolling on your phone? How much percent of Tate's life is smashing Miles, since she said she, like, yeah, I fuck him for 3 hours straight? What about it? Like, I generally feel bad for her lifespan if so many of it is just you smashing that. What if like 10% of her lifespan is just smashing Miles? Anyways, this book is awful. If I was writing it, Tate would get self-respect and drop Miles. So if anyone, oh my god, I should make a video where I rewrite all of Colleen Hoover's books so they're actually not cursed. If anyone wants that, comment down below. Before we get to November 9, I would like to say 80% of you who watch my videos are not subscribed. In order to be part of the Rhea cult, you must subscribe, and please subscribe because I'm talking to you. Subscribe. Anyways, let's discuss November 9, released in 2015. In November 9, we have this main character, Fallon O'Neill, because why can't we just have Sally Green? Why can't we just, like, normally I hate it when characters have basic ass bitch names, but in this case I'm like, Colleen, please stop calling your characters Jamie Oliver and Elon Musk's child names. Like, Gordon Ramsay, supremacy over Jamie Oliver, because what is that man doing? Did you see all of his Indian dishes and also what he did? But at least it's not as bad as what he did to the Chinese with his egg fried rice. My friend who's Chinese watched it and started crying. So basically, Fallon O'Neill's 3 character traits are no self-respect, no self-love, and no self-worth, which makes her just the stereotypical Colleen Hoover main character who everyone stans. But actually, we only care about the men in Colleen Hoover's books, according to BookTok. But BookTok doesn't exist yet. Well, it does kind of. Foreshadowing. How it starts is Fallon and her dad are in a restaurant, and then Fallon's And then Fallon is a burn victim, so she has a bunch of scars on her. And then Fallon's dad is like, you ugly ass bitch, no one's gonna date you, you'll never get a job. And Fallon is like, wow, this man's really evil, he's actually attacking me because I have burn scars, and that's obviously trash, right? And then anyways, Fallon's dad's like, do you have a man? And Fallon's like, no, I don't have a man. And the Fallon's man is like, you ugly ass bitch. Randomly, the love interest interrupts the dad, slides into the booth, and it's like, and from his POV, he's just like, boobs, 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 boobs. So that's basically his internal monologue. And he sees her and he's like, hey, ladybug. And then is basically pretending to be her man. And Fallon just rolls with it because she's pissed at her dad. And reasonably so, because is that man okay? But then it turns out, plot twist, this guy is also equally as cursed as her dad, if not more. So Ben James Kessler is like, hey, ladybug. And then she's like, this is the man for me. So then what happens is, as soon as the dad fucks off, the first thing Ben tells to Fallon is, are you wearing underwear or not? Because I can't see the outline of your underwear against your skirt. And I've just been really curious. Like, that's the only thing I think about you. That's your only personality trait. Underwearless or not underwearless? Commando or underwear? Because that is obviously the only personality trait Fallon has. And all women have, like. So in chapter 2, Ben has a breakdown because he's really pissed that Fallon is not showing the fellities. The fellities aren't on show. So then he's like, Fallon, I want to see your boobs. And then Fallon's like, no, she prefers to dress more modesty. And like, if Fallon wants to dress, let her dress however she wants. And Ben is like, no, I need the fellities on show. So then basically what happens is he takes off her clothes without her consent while she's crying. And then also during this thing, inside his internal monologue, he's like, I'm so curious about whether she has burn marks on the rest of her body. I'm like, and then it's like a sexual fantasy for him. I'm like, this is a disgusting fetishization of a woman you literally met 2 seconds ago. But then obviously Ben is everyone's book boyfriend because we love abuse. Like, this is the love interest. This isn't even meant to be abusive. This is literally the love interest. But then anyways, Ben is just like super curious. So he rips off her clothes. Fallon is literally crying because she hates this and is so uncomfortable. And Ben just carries on and then puts the dress on her anyways that she didn't want to wear. And he also asks her a million times to wear it because he just wants the fellities on show. So anyways, I generally don't understand how we're meant to ship this, but later on, Ben runs his fingers along Fallon's scars and is like, is this okay? So I was like, oh my gosh, we love a consensual king. Fallon says, I don't know. Ben carries on, we hate an unconsensual king. What is this? She literally said, I don't know. What is the point in him asking if he's not even gonna listen to this? Like, silliness, disgustingness, trash. Put him in the bin. How are we meant to ship this? And the thing is, underage women are reading this and they're gonna think this is what a healthy relationship looks like. They're gonna get into a relationship like this and they're gonna end up traumatized because this book is setting the standard of what a healthy relationship looks like. But they're actually like this. What the hell? Anyways, Fallon is literally like, in her head, she's like, this is the man for me, husband, marry me now, gonna propose, insane, Riz. Hello Riz, 2.5 Riz, double R Riz, Ria 2.0, exactly. And then Ben is like, abuse, consent, who is she? I don't know her, like what is... Oh, also, another lovely detail about Ben is that he says all Asian food tastes the same. Honestly, like, no, like I'm like in India, which is just one country in Asia, even though to be honest, Ben probably wouldn't count as Indian as Asian. He'd probably think we're in Europe or something. But anyways, in India, literally, I'm from 2 different parts of India, and from both those individual like Pradeshs or states or whatever, the food is so different. From North India and South India, the food is so different. And this is a country, but then he's talking, this is within a country, but he's talking about different countries in Asia, and it's like, oh my god, like it's basically the same. Okay, Ben, it's probably because it actually has seasoning, which you can't handle clearly. Ben actually exposes himself because he tells Fallon to her face, I love that you're insecure because it means I can touch your panties. Basically, what this line means is he's insinuating if Fallon even had 0.1% of self-respect, she would just drop Ben and actually like ditch him, and any person who had self-respect would not get involved with him. But because Fallon doesn't have any self-respect, then Ben's like, haha, I can fuck. Like, what is this? Like, honestly, if this book was like Fallon gets rizzed by him and then has a whole character development and realizes to get self-respect, that's iconic because everyone's had an era in their life in which they don't have any self-respect. But Ben's just like, no. It's meant to be. Colleen is like, no, this is actually the romance, guys. Abuse is so hot. Romanticization of abuse. Like, what is this? No, we do not stand. Hashtag cancelled. Hashtag Colleen Hoover is over party. Hashtag Colleen Hoover slander. Oh my god, also in the book is a Tate and Miles crossover. The coho universe, Colleen Hoover universe. You heard of the MCU. We're about the coho U. So we need that Colleen Hoover crossover episode, insane in the Colleen Hoover universe. Double the abuse. Double the 2 abusive relationships for the price of 1. Guys, Colleen is actually spoiling us. But then anyways, what happens is Fallon is talking to Ben, and Ben's like, I don't care what this bitch has to say. She's just used, like, let's just use her for sex. So mid-conversation, he just starts kissing her because he wants to shut her up. Which honestly is so attractive. I'm insanely in love. Like, I am the Indian Ocean. We are all the Indian Ocean. Oh my god, also I forgot to mention, Ben has a wife during the entire thing. The man for us. Ben literally wants Fallon to move in to his house, and Fallon is like, no. So Ben basically just has a mental breakdown and has a whole fit, and is very insane. So we love that. Yes, Ben. Not listening to what your girl wants and only listening to yourself, and having a fit when she decides, maybe I want to live with my super rich actor dad. Or, well, I mean, Ben and the dad are both rich, so it's just effort to move. And like, why would she move for someone she's known for 0.00001 seconds? So Fallon is obviously trying to get out of the situation because Ben is getting insanely angry. So what happens is Ben actually physically restricts her by holding her. Fallon tries to leave. So then Fallon's on her way to leave, and then Ben fantasizes about pushing her into the pavement. And he's like, I know I shouldn't use violence, but he wants to slam her into the pavement so she doesn't leave. Hot! Don't you just love it when a man is violent, domestically violent against you and doesn't want you to have free will? Also, when Fallon tries to get away, Ben steals, because Fallon has a car, so Fallon wants to like Mario Kart vroom vroom away, Lightning McQueen speed to get out away from this insane man. But Ben is like swiping and steals her keys. So then Ben has her keys and gets in his own car, and then Fallon's like, fuck. So Fallon has to get into the car in order to retrieve the keys from Ben. So we just love like Ben's constant manipulation. Rizzed. I generally don't know who likes Ben apart from Colleen Hoover's 12-year-old army. If you guys want to stay hydrated, if you guys want to stay hydrated, every single time Ben mentions panties, chug water, and will literally just be hydrated for life. So anyways, because Fallon is like, Ben is actually trash and has like a revelatory self-respect moment, I'm like, yes, is Fallon actually gonna leave Ben? So Fallon goes, obviously Colleen Hoover's like, no, everyone's actually meant to be upset because they want Fallon and Ben to return. So what happens is Fallon's on a date with another guy, and Ben, instead of being portrayed as a creep because he infiltrates the date and is like, Fallon, you bitch, take me back, instead of meant to be like, oh my god, he's so dedicated. No. So Ben is screaming at her to get back with him, and then what happens in another scene is that Ben actually stalks Fallon. He tracks her down. Fallon is drunk, Ben is sober, and Fallon is like, I don't want to smash, and then Ben basically rapes her. And then Ben R-words her. How are we meant to like him? I genuinely don't understand. What was Colleen thinking? So when Fallon tells Ben to stop, Ben is like, I'm trying, but you're too hot. Say stop again. Say stop again. So I'm like, come on, Ben, that's actually disgusting. Why is it meant to be hot like that? He is R-wording her. Colleen, are you okay? I feel like I need to reach out like to all of Colleen's like, all the people Colleen has counselled, like in her counsellor job, because those people need help. Like Colleen Hoover's probably just traumatized them more. Like, what is this? I mean, I've also been traumatized from secondary school and university counsellors, so I'd relate. But here's where we get a plot twist, which will make you even more rizzed by Ben. And like, if nothing has made you want to marry Ben by now, this will. So basically what happens is, it turns out Ben was insanely drunk and was mad, so he burnt down Fallon's house, and that is the reason she has the burn marks. And he was actually tracking her down for the entire book because he wants to pay for the burn marks and like compensate her by giving her even more trauma. So Ben actually caused her burns, but then was also rizzed by the burns and curious if the rest of her like naked body got burnt. Really the Riz Lord out here. Double R Rizzed, Riz Master, what the hell. So he is the ultimate book boyfriend. He's a stalker, R-worder, and burnt the main character's house down while she was in it. How are we meant to like him? How do people like this book? Anyways, Fallon's mum is like, please take Ben back. Take Ben back. Because the mum clearly wants what's best for her child. So Fallon's like, okay, and now Fallon and Ben are back together. Hashtag Bellen, hashtag Fen. Ben empathizes with her dad because he's like from one abuser to another. Like, you know, they have that abuser on abuser solidarity, abuser on abuser love. So then Ben actually tells Fallon, forgive your dad, even though he's literally calling you ugly and insulting the fact you have burn marks and doesn't actually have any good traits at all. Like in the pros and cons list, the cons, there's only cons, there's no pros. And Fallon's like, okay, and then she forgives her dad and now she's just surrounded by abusers and enablers. The best ending! So anyways, what happens is when this book got released, it had a mostly positive reaction and everyone was like, November 9 is amazing because they obviously have brain cells. But like some people were actually like, the Ben literally R-wording Fallon is too far, even though they ignored all of the other cursed stuff. So Colleen made an apology video and basically did a Miles 2.0 and performed a Toxic Gossip Train. She was basically like, the reason she put that scene in was for irony, which totally makes sense. But anyways, so you have the R-word edition of November 9, and then you have the non-R-word edition with all the other stuff, toxic, insane stuff still in it. But at least she got rid of that. So, I mean, at least Colleen, like, you know what? At least Colleen actually did that one thing and she got rid of the R-wording. Should she have written it in the book in the first place and made the love interest do that when he's meant to be positive and the love interest? No. But at least she removed it, so good for her. Everyone, literally 99.999% of the population who have read Colleen love Colleen, and everyone's just like, Colleen is the best author ever, like best-selling author. No, they're like, Colleen is the best-selling author, my entire shelves are all Colleen Hoover, etc. Then something changes. Caleb Joseph, a 16-year-old boy, makes hate videos on Colleen and actually is like, her books are awful. The only person who is like, Colleen Hoover's literally promoting SA and abuse is a 16-year-old boy who has more maturity. And then he basically was like, I'm 16 and I'm traumatized from reading. Also, his videos are so funny on the Colleen books. Like, I would highly recommend, like, we stan Caleb. But anyways, what happened is Caleb read November 9 because all of his favourite booktubers were telling him to read it and most of them were adults. He read it and was like, jump scare, what is this? And he made a video hating on it. And then more adults were gaslighting him in the comments being like, you don't understand the truth of the story. Like, your brain is still underdeveloped, so you don't understand what's going on. Like, okay, what? And then Caleb actually is like really iconic for this. Like, he's the OG Colleen Hoover hater and he was just getting a bunch of hate for no reason. And he has a whole playlist on his channel called Colleen Hoover Feud. Oh yeah, called the Colleen Hoover Saga. We have reacting to videos about November 9, which was 6 years ago. Giving my least favourite author a second chance, reacting to videos. Oh yeah, he also reads Ugly Love, reacting to videos about ugly love, abuse. Oh, and also the book Goblin is in the videos. Then we have abuse and books ain't cute, you're nasties, a complete history of my feud with Colleen Hoover, and I watched Colleen Hoover's awful TV show. So because of his videos, the public actually did an Uno reverse card and were like, hold on a second, Colleen Hoover's books actually do romanticize abuse. And then everyone was like, Caleb, we know we were hating on you, but you're actually right. You were the OG Colleen Hoover hater, the CHH. And then he's like, exactly, why are you guys hating on me for? So then what happens is the public opinion of Colleen actually ends up doing an Uno reverse card again and ends up, everyone just starts hating this bitch and they're like, what the fuck? Until Colleen releases her most clout book, It Ends With Us, which was released in 2016. And then everyone's like, actually, Colleen is the best. When I was reading It Ends With Us, I just wanted to end it. Like, honestly, my 13th reason is this book. It also got nominated for the Goodreads Choice Award in 2016, which shows how much clout Colleen got for the book. And in romance, when the book isn't even a romance. Anyways, there's 4 main characters in the book. We have Lily Blossom Bloom. It ends with me. I actually can't do this. Lily Blossom Bloom, who is a florist. Then we also have Atlas Corrigan, Ryle Kincaid, and the 4th, aka the best character, Ellen DeGeneres. Yeah, Ellen is literally a character in the book. Like, she's basically, the main character is literally just Ellen. It Ends With Us is in an epistolary format, and the book just shows Lily's diary entries, but the diary entries are all addressed to Ellen, and she like talks to Ellen through the entries, and then she keeps on mentioning how like she supports Dory, she loves Ellen. So basically 90% of the book is just Ellen. And then Lily Blossom Bloom is actually self-aware though, because Lily Blossom Bloom is like, I hate my name, it's trash. But the reason she hates her name is because number one, she's like, it sounds like I'm -2 years old, which is very accurate. It's giving Jamie Oliver's kids' names, but that's all of Colleen Hoover's names, let's be honest. Then what happens is Ryle Kincaid replies saying, oh, and then also Lily Blossom Bloom is like, what if people think I'm just deciding to be a florist because my name, so I can get extra clout? I'm like, I'm pretty sure no one called Lily Blossom Bloom would open a florist place for clout. They'd open it because they generally want to, not just based off their name. And then Ryle Kincaid is like, no, you have to keep your name. No one should ever be able to change their name. And I'm like, Ryle, first of all, like, Lily Blossom Bloom, if she wanted to change her name, she could literally just go by Sandra for the entire book. And if my name was Lily Blossom Bloom, I would legally change it. Who wouldn't? Like, so Ryle meets Lily Blossom Bloom. I'm pretty sure they meet on a roof where they're both gonna end it, and then they meet each other, and then Ryle's like, hey, wanna fuck? And Lily's like, I'm Riv. And then after that, Ryle puts a picture of a massive, gargantuan, bodacious, vivacious, voluptuous picture of Lily on his wall. And Lily is rizzed. But I've met one person once and she changed her wallpaper to me and I was terrified. But to be honest, I have a trillion different stalkers, so I can kind of relate to the Colleen Hoover main characters. I feel like Colleen should have called Lily Blossom Bloom, Bloom Blossom Lily, so then her initials can be BBL. Like, I remember I made a video where I was like, I'm gonna write the worst book ever, and there's a character called Bad Boy Lucifer who's also known as BBL. If I was Ellen, like, I would actually just cry. I would end it. It would end with Ellen. Like, I would be done. The Colleen Hoover sex scenes are all insanely traumatizing. Like, I literally can't read them. Disgusting. Like, how are we meant to be rizzed by it? Like, literally, I've never had sex or been in a relationship. And after reading these, I'm gonna stay single and celibate for life, because what is this? A very common criticism of Colleen Hoover is that her books aren't very diverse. But it's okay, guys, because in this book, and especially to film this video during Pride Month, Colleen Hoover has a gay character, guys. But he's trash. Okay, his name is Devin and his personality trait is ripping off her bra without her consent. The man for us! Anyways, so he's called Devin, and basically Devin's personality trait is number 1 gay and number 2 unconsensual, which is a really great representation and definitely doesn't harm the LGBT community at all. But anyways, what happens is Devin, like, I feel like, I don't know, either Lily Blossom Bloom wants to make Ryle jealous, or she's just trying to tell Ryle to fuck off. So she asks Devin, hey Devin, can you act like a straight man and pretend we're like going out? Devin is just too slay, he can't contain himself. So he's just like death dropping everywhere and is going like cat, 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 every single, like every 5 seconds. Then Ryle's like not fooled. So then Ryle is like, this is obviously a gay man. And then Lily Blossom Bloom is like, Devin, you bitch. But then anyways, we also hate Devin because he literally just like takes off all her clothes without her consent. So anyways, what happens is Ryle and Lily Blossom Bloom end up getting married, and Lily is like, this is the love of my life. But Lily is like, hold on a second, Ryle is actually abusive, so what the hell? So Lily is basically stuck in an abusive relationship. Even though Ryle is literally exactly the same as all of Colleen Hoover's other love interests who are also abusive, for some reason Colleen Hoover's like, no, this guy is abusive because I said so, and the other guys aren't abusive because I said so. So everyone hates Ryle because he's literally meant to be an abuser, right? So what happens is one day Lily Blossom Bloom's just chilling and she has a magnet on her thing, and then there's also that whole viral scene where Ryle pushes Lily Blossom Bloom down the stairs and then gaslights her, and it's like, no, you fell, I kicked it by mistake, you know? So then anyways, what happens is Ryle also finds a magnet on the fridge, and he's like, Lily Blossom Bloom is out here fucking other bitches, keeping her ex's magnet. So he snatches up the magnet, rizzes up Lily Blossom Bloom, like mid-smashing Lily Blossom Bloom, whips out his magnet, and why does that sound like an analogy? Whips out his magnet, and it's like, Lily Blossom Bloom, and then he pulls her hair insanely hard, like not in a rizz way, in an abuse way, and then she's like disgusted and like is telling him to stop. He airs her, and instead it's like insisting, who the fuck is the magnet from? Like, abuse. But it's okay because Lily Blossom Bloom is saved by her childhood crush Atlas, and everyone's like, maybe Atlas is actually a good person. But it turns out Atlas actually smashed Lily Blossom Bloom when she was a minor. But it's okay because Colleen Hoover says he's the love interest, not the abuser, so it's fine. So Lily Blossom Bloom and Atlas smashed when Lily Blossom Bloom was 15 and Atlas was 18. That is a year 11 and a year 13. That is so unethical. Like, how is this meant to be raised? And then Colleen Hoover said the age gap is normal. Colleen, are you okay? Yeah, so Raoul is disgusting. Like, he literally R-words Lily Blossom Bloom, and then he also gets insanely mad and then like starts beating up and attacking and like ninja chops a chair. And I'm like, okay, Raoul, like, are you okay? Don't take it out on the chair, take it out on yourself, please. It ends with Raoul. But then some people on BookTok are actually rizzed by Raoul the rapist. Like, obviously a lot of people in the fandom hate Raoul, but then there's still some people who are like, I feel kind of bad for Raoul, he's just misunderstood. And the reason why is because of the way the book is written. There's like quotes that are like, oh my gosh, and it's not like Raoul's just saying this, but then through the book everyone's like, Raoul believes this but he's being delulu. It's like, actually the message of the book is that there's no bad people and everyone's equally as like trash as each other. I'm like, no, Raoul is objectively awful and Lily Blossom Bloom is way better than him. You can't just be like, oh my god, you can't blame people because like they're like just one human and like you should feel bad. No. So Lily and Atlas end up having a child who they call Dory, after the fourth character, named after the fourth character, Ellen. So Ellen and Devon are the gay representation in the book. But then yeah, so then anyways what happens is, plot twist, turns out even though Raoul is literally confirmed to be an R-worder and an abuser, Lily Blossom Bloom and Atlas are co-parenting the child with Raoul voluntarily, and Lily and Raoul stay friends because Lily said it's because she wants what's best for the child. What's best for the child is to stay away from an abusive person and an R-worder. People outside can see me. But yeah, literally, how is this meant to be a good thing? He's confirmed awful, confirmed disgusting. Like, I know people are morally grey, but in this aspect, no. And the reason why Raoul is forgiven is because when he was young, he accidentally shot his brother with a gun, because like Raoul was obviously young, he didn't know what the gun was. So obviously that makes literally every single action okay. Here are some lovely quotes on how Raoul's abuse is justified. I feel like everyone fakes who they really are, when deep down we're all equal amounts of screwed up. Some of us are just better at hiding it than others. No, Raoul, no. Then we have, there's no such thing as bad people. We're all just people who sometimes do bad things. It depends on the severity of the crime, and with Raoul, it's insanely severe. Anyways, so what happens is the colouring book of It Ends With Us. So Colleen is like, okay, let's start a colouring book for It Ends With Us. And then everyone is like, wait, the book is literally about abuse. Like, it's literally a book about domestic abuse, despite the Goodreads award and the fact it's being marketed as a romance and people are getting catfished. But anyways, it's literally abuse, and it's basically Abuse the colouring book. And I remember someone on TikTok literally did like, colour in the stairs, Lily Blossom Bloom falls down. So then, because everyone was hating on it, because they're like, Colleen, why are you trying to just secure the bag by making an abuse colouring book? Colleen's like, okay, fine then, guess I'll discontinue it. And that is the colouring book saga drama. Then in 2017, Colleen Hoover gets a TV show made, like a TV series made after her book, Confessed. So I feel like nobody knows about this, like why is it not being promoted? But it's because it's actually insanely bad. Like, the movie has zero budget that even Colleen Hoover's not promoting it, Colleen herself. And it's not even available on Netflix, it's on Go9 or something. Wait, what? It's only available on Go90, which I didn't even know what that was. So that's just like how little clout the book actually the show actually has. Also, my understanding when I watch TV shows is so bad because I just get confused. So if you're like, Rhea, the plot is wrong, it's because I literally didn't understand what was going on. So basically, main character Auburn, tragic anime backstory, it starts off with a flashback where she's really upset because her baby daddy Adam dies. So Auburn says her last time smashing anyone was her boyfriend, Adam, who is deceased, and she's currently 21, which means she smashed him at age 11 and got pregnant. So after the flashback, it starts with Auburn and she walks past a drug den and it's like, oh my god, let's walk into the drug den. So she's inside the drug den, and then here appears this random guy and he's like, hey, take your clothes off. Riz. And then Auburn is like, what the fuck? And also the actors in this, are they okay? Like, I don't know if it's the actors themselves for the script, but they're like just imagine they're just like they can't do facial expressions. What are they doing? But anyways, Auburn is in the drug den and this guy's like strip. So Owen is the love interest, and he also has a cat called Owen. So it's like Owen double, like times two. So if you don't like people called Owen, don't watch the show. But guys, it turns out the only reason Owen was telling her to strip is because he just wanted like her to be in an outfit, you know. Oh my god, my eye. Is because he just wanted her to wear her work clothes and he wanted her to sell his paintings. So what Owen does is he basically, people give him, people like put confessions into the drug den, because it's not actually a drug den, but it looks like a drug den, right? So then people put their confessions into the drug den. Owen reads the confessions and then does a painting. And then Auburn's like, what's my salary? And Owen is like £1 million per hour. So then Auburn's like, oh my god, yeah. So Auburn apparently got pregnant at 16, even though her last time was with her boyfriend who died 10 years ago. So I don't know what was going on with that. And so basically the grandma literally looks after the child AJ, who is 5. I really think Colleen Hoover or whoever was doing the show did not do the maths. So anyways, what happens is Owen and Auburn actually end up getting rizzed by each other. But then Owen's like, I don't want to confuse business and work, so I'm gonna have to fire you. So Auburn's like, what will I choose? $1 million per second salary or going on a date with a man? And she chooses the date with the man. Also, because this was a TV show, like basically Auburn and Owen go on a date, and then Auburn is literally just like in the bathroom and she's talking to herself and she's like, don't smash Owen, don't smash Owen, don't smash Owen, in the mirror, and she's just reciting it out loud. And like, imagine if there's someone in the toilet stall and they're just hearing this girl screaming, telling herself to not smash this guy. So anyways, at this party thingy, Auburn gets really drunk, randomly wakes up in Owen's bed naked and is also covered in paint. And then she's like, Owen, what the hell happened? Did we smash? And Owen's like, no, you were just so drunk that you wanted to like strip and roll around in the paint. So I ended up sleeping on the sofa. So then Auburn just like apparently got really drunk and rolled around in the paint and apparently like destroyed his bed by covering it in paint. And then there's also this guy called Trey, who is Auburn's dead baby daddy's brother, who's also trying to rizz up Auburn at the same time. And because he is the baby daddy's brother, he also helps look after AJ, and he's also a member of the police. So anyways, Auburn leaves, and then Auburn is like hanging out with AJ, and then Owen's like, oh my god, he sees her with AJ, and he's like, she has a child. And then Auburn's like, and then AJ's like, okay, so either Owen or Trey proposes, but I have this genuine issue where it's really hard for me to tell white men apart. So I don't know who proposes, but one of them proposes. So then what happens is Owen and Auburn smash, but then Trey is secretly in the room. So Trey is like hiding in the room while Owen and Auburn smash, and then Trey's like a dramatic reveal and he's like, I'm in the room, and Auburn is like, what the fuck, why are you trying to spam me smashing? And then Trey is like in his police fit and he's like, no, I'm actually here to arrest Owen. Instead of Auburn actually hearing Owen out, she's like, I'm done with you, Owen, you bitch, you illegal criminal. And then it turns out Owen was actually arrested for being a drug dealer, which is really good for foreshadowing of the show. I will give them this, because his house looked like a crack den, so it's just foreshadowing. So that's an actual good element of the show that I do support. It turns out, plot twist, Owen was basically securing the drugs for his dad, because his dad is like super famous. I think he's a lawyer. So his dad's a super famous lawyer, and then Owen's dad is a drug addict, but then Owen lies and says he's the addict so his dad can continue to secure the bag, even though Owen is securing the bag from his painting. And his dad is also trash, so I don't know why he's literally accepting this behaviour when his dad is confirmed trash. Why is he? And it's because I think his dad is running for president, like, so Owen is just like, I'll take the L for you. But what is this? Auburn and Trey start rizzing each other because Auburn's like, I don't want to date a criminal eel. So then now Auburn is like in the NHS as a nurse for some reason, and and then Owen appears in the NHS, and then they both just start like dancing in the NHS. Because who cares about the patients when you can have like an entire dance show, Yuri on Ice scene, dancing on ice, whatever, in the hospital. So Auburn actually ends up like confessing in the drug den and like puts in a note, and she basically says, Owen, I'm still rizzed by you, not Trey. Like she does an Uno reverse card. She's like, Trey's actually giving me the ick, so I need to date you. And then Owen, instead of calling her, storms up to her house and it's like, hey, let's fuck. So then anyways, what they do is smash, but then plot twist, AJ, after they've smashed, AJ nearly walks in the room because AJ and her, it's not her grandma, it's her mom, or like one of grandma or mom, I honestly don't know, busts in the room with AJ, and then Auburn's like, shit. So then what happens is Owen hides in the shower, and then for some reason AJ is like, let's open the shower curtain, which I mean, if there's some random guy in the shower curtain I'd be scared, but AJ's just like, hey. So that, and then Owen's like, hey, and then Auburn's like, shit. But then Auburn's flatmate, actually, also Auburn's flatmate keeps on trying to rizz up Owen despite knowing that Auburn's literally rizzed by her. This is disgusting behavior. She's the opposite of a girl's girl. Like, what is this? Like, if my friend is rizzed by someone, I automatically become unrizzed by them. What is that? Anyways, so then she starts making out. So then Auburn's flatmate starts making out with Owen in front of the 5-year-old child and the grandma to prove it, which I'm sorry, do not do that behavior in front of other people. We do not need to see that right in front of my salad. Sucking dick and cock. Time and place. And it was at my birthday dinner. But yeah, literally, what the hell. So then anyways, they start like making out and smashing in front of everyone. So then they leave. And then they're like, okay, maybe Owen isn't rizzing up Audrey. Oh yeah, but during this entire thing of Auburn and Owen smashing, it turns out she was still in the relationship / engagement with Trey. So she basically just cheated on Trey when she could have just broken up with him. So then Trey and Auburn are hanging out. Auburn is like, oh my god, like her phone gets a notification and the ringer keeps on going off. And then Trey gets so angry at her for not turning notifications off and not turning her ringer off that he starts to literally physically beat her up and attack her because she didn't turn notifications off. So then Owen randomly spawns out of nowhere, like plot twist, he was also hiding in the room and like basically attacks Trey. And then Owen's like, I'm gonna call the police, and Trey is like, I'm the police. But then Trey calls the phone, and then Trey's phone like starts ringing as well. So then Trey also picks up the phone, and then he's like, wait, you're calling me on my cell? So they're like, shit, we can't call the police on the police. And I feel like that element is actually really realistic. So I do also applaud Colleen Hoover for that, because literally the police are so corrupt, like literally cursed. So the fact that Colleen literally gave light to that and how like Trey is corrupt. So then anyways, what happens is Owen is like, for emotional support to Auburn, let's just smash. So then they end up smashing. Then randomly Trent spawns again and they have another fight scene. But then Owen, like the fight scene happens, and then Trey literally gets the cops called on Owen, and then Owen gets arrested. So then Auburn's like, Auburn's like, now also Auburn and Owen literally sound the same. Why did Colleen do this to me? Anyways, now Owen gets arrested. Auburn's like, okay, guess the only option I have is Trey, even though he's abusive, so let's just rizz him up. So she rizzes up Trey, and then they basically have a discussion in some restaurant about how they framed Owen and how Owen actually shouldn't be in jail. But then plot twist, the people in the other booth actually heard them spilling the tea, so then now they're actually getting exposed. But then the police don't care because Trey is a cop, so why, like, who cares about justice? The police? No, the police are the opposite of justice. So they're like, okay, let's just get Owen, like, let's just like ignore what Trey did and he doesn't have to face any accountability because he's a cop, which is realistic. So anyways, I'm pretty sure Owen gets out of jail and then starts rizzing up Auburn, but then Auburn's grandma / mom is like, no, get with Trey, because she just like really wants her to date Trey for some reason. Like and also the grandma was literally stalking and spying on the entire show, so she knows how abusive Trey is, but she's like, no, just get with him anyways, because she really doesn't care. Like, she's like, this bitch made me have to look after the AJ, the 5-year-old. This is my revenge. So then anyways, we get another flashback at the end of the show where it's revealed that Auburn's baby daddy is actually besties with Owen. We get a flashback and it's of Auburn's baby daddy Adam, Auburn and Owen. Why do all names sound the same? But anyways, so Adam is her baby daddy, so her baby daddy's dying, and then for some reason Auburn and Trent are in the hospital room having a fight scene in a different room, and then in this room Owen appears and her baby daddy is telling Owen, make sure you literally stalk down Auburn and rizz her up. And then Owen's like, yes. So then basically this whole reason he's rizzing her up is because her dead baby daddy was like, you need the upgrade / replacement / downgrade. So then what happens is when this gets published, everyone's like, when this series gets released, it gets literally zero clout. So people are like, is the reign of Colleen Hoover finally over? Has her reputation finally gonna like fade out of existence like Ice Spice 2.0? But then what happens is Verity gets released in 2019, and it also has clout. So I didn't read the entirety of Verity or any summaries. The only things I've heard of it is blowjobs on every page, boob sucking with boob milk, and that's it. But I did read the preview the preview on like Google Books, the like free bit. So, and there's already so much to discuss just from the preview. If everyone wants a full video of me reviewing Verity, let me know. So we have the main character, Lowen Ashley, and her love interest, Jeremy Crawford. So basically, it starts off with Lowen like covered in blood, borderline on the verge of death, running away, and then she crashes into Jeremy Corbyn, and then Jeremy Corbyn is like, oh my god, instead of like take her to the NHS, or like instead of taking to the NHS, he takes her to her house. So Lowen is just like dying, borderline vomiting blood, and Jeremy Corbyn is like, it's fine, and then Lowen's like, you're not freaked out, and then Jeremy Corbyn's like, no, because I've literally seen worse. So then Lowen, I'm just gonna call Lowen Lauren, and I can't remember Jeremy's surname, so he's now Jeremy Corbyn. So anyway, Lowen is diseased, and then Jeremy Corbyn's like, oh my god, like, it's not that deep. And then Lowen's like, why is it not that deep? And then Jeremy Corbyn's like, I've dealt with worse. So then Lowen is like, spill the tea. So then Jeremy literally starts trauma dumping on her, saying that he found his 5-year-old daughter dead in a lake. And then Lowen's like, shit, now I need to return the favour and trauma dump back, because every action has an equal and opposite reaction. If body A exerts a force on body B will also for opposite and equal force on body A. So then Lowen starts being like, okay, my mum is also dead. So they're like, oh my god, we're both traumatized, even though this is the first sentence interaction we ever had. And then during the scene in her head, Lowen is basically doing the trauma Olympics, and is like, his trauma's worse than mine, and then is basically just doing like the trauma tier list, which is not it. So basically what happens is Lowen is actually an author, and then Corey is her literary assistant, but then Corey rizzes her up, so then Lowen and Corey start smashing, but then Corey actually drops Lowen, so Lowen and now Corey only communicate through emails because they want to show how professional their relationship is. But so I assumed reading this that the reason they did that is because they were like, Lowen or Corey were like, we need to be professional, we need to stop this behavior. But no, but then Lowen was like, no, the real reason why is because Corey actually, the only reason he became a literary agent, whatever, was that he read Lowen's book, became rizzed by the main character, so assumed the author and the main character was basically a self-insert situation, tried to rizz up Lowen, smashed Lowen a bunch of times, friends with benefits / no relationship, but then he was like, jump scare, Lowen isn't a clone of the character, so then he drops Lowen. So the main character Lowen basically says she hates other humans, has decided to not have any friends or any fulfilling relationships in her life because she just hates all humans so much, which is a very endearing character trait. So anyways, what happens is Lowen sees Corey, and then Corey is like, oh my god, like, and then Lauren like secretly hates Corey. Like, Lauren doesn't like Corey because Corey was like, actually, I'm not rizzed by you, I was only rizzed by your character. So Laurie was just like, you look ugly. And then Corey just does not care. Corey's like, you look nice. So Corey is unaffected. He's like, I only care about your character, not you. And then Lauren's obviously seriously like really offended fan behavior, which he's literally like, you're ugly. Like, I feel like the only reason you'd randomly have an incentive to tell someone they're ugly to your face is because you're insecure or hurt by their actions. It's giving low self-esteem, it's giving low self-worth, it's giving low self-respect, which is how you can identify that she's a Colleen Hoover main character. So anyways, when the main character Lowen was staying at Jeremy's house, Jeremy was like, oh shit, I actually have a meeting with you, Lowen the author. And Lowen's like, oh my god, it's crazy to meet me. So they're having a professional meeting. To the meeting, Lowen wears Jeremy's oversized pajama shirt. Riz. So even though like Colleen Hoover does not have that much clout, like, you know, there's still loads of Colleen Hoover slander. I feel like everyone's just like, Colleen exists, until in 2021, the rise of booktok. So every single Colleen Hoover book, including her literally the best, like her favorite one, It Ends With Us, blows up on booktok. Everyone is obsessed with it. 99.99% of booktok is just Colleen Hoover, Colleen Hoover, Colleen Hoover. And then everyone's making Atlas Corrigan their book boyfriend, when it's, God, come on, there's so many other options. Kaz Brecker, Ravi Singh, Percy Jackson, anyone. But then like, no, we're gonna choose Atlas. Like, read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder and tell me you still think Atlas is better than Ravi. Ravi sing for life! So due to this insane increase in clout, in 2022, Colleen Hoover sells more copies of her book than the Bible. So because of this insane rise in popularity from Colleen Hoover, despite the insane amount of abuse in her book, because all the minus 10-year-olds in booktok are like part of the Colleen Hoover army, then what happens is the rise of Colleen Hoover slander. So there's two trending hashtags on TikTok. We have Colleen Hoover supremacy, and then we have hashtag Colleen Hoover slander. And actually, I made a TikTok ages ago before, like I remember, okay, so I used to have a TikTok, and then I was like, I'm not feeling this, and then just made YouTube, and it's so much better. But then I was like, let's make TikTok again. And my first like 2 days into TikTok, I was already getting multiple, like on my YouTube channel I've gotten 0 hate comments ever. On my TikTok, literally 50% of the comments were kill yourself. So I was like, I can't do this, what is this? So if I get to like, I don't know, 10k, 50k, 1 million K, then I'll make TikTok again. But anyways, ages ago I did make a TikTok of Colleen Hoover slander, and it got clout. Because what happens is someone made a TikTok and they were like, sing if you've read the book, and it was all Colleen Hoover books, and then I just duetted it and was like, and then everyone's just like, Colleen Hoover is trash, she's getting so much hate, but she's also getting so much love. It's a very polarizing topic, because all the 12-year-olds are like, we love her books, and then anyone over the age of 12 is like, this is abuse. Also, note, I already discussed the like lack of good representation in Colleen Hoover's book, but it's okay guys, because in reminders of him, even though every single character has literally been white, in reminders of him there is a black character who gets 2 lines, and his only personality trait is, you hired me for this job even though I'm black. And then that's literally the entire thing. So diverse. Yes, Colleen. Then we also have to discuss the allegations against Colleen Hoover's son. So basically what happened is the alleged survivor of SA from Colleen Hoover's son, who was literally DM'd Colleen Hoover, literally saying, hey Colleen, your son SA'd me when I was 16, he was 21. And then she was really nice in the message. She was like, sorry to disturb you, like I hope you're doing well. And Colleen's response was to air the message. So since Colleen Hoover aired the message, the survivor posted it and said, Colleen Hoover literally aired my message. And then it was going viral. Everyone's like, Colleen Hoover's literally airing the survivor of SA, of like, and she's not holding her son accountable. So Colleen Hoover doesn't address this to the public. She addresses it in the Colleen Hoover Stans Facebook group, which will only contain stans of Colleen Hoover in her like little Facebook group. So anyways, what happens is Colleen Hoover's response is, I didn't see the message, but now I do. My son told her to send nudes, and then I've told my son like to stop. First of all, Colleen should have addressed this to the public, because okay, like if the girl was lying and she came forward with this information to the public, I feel like Colleen Hoover and the son would have been angry and they would have addressed the situation. But what actually happened is Colleen Hoover tried to sweep it under the rug, which basically confirms that it's true, because what is that? Like if someone's falsely accused someone, you would want to like be like clear your name and like actually say, but then instead Colleen Hoover just aired her. And also Colleen Hoover literally lied, so it's basically obvious, because like I 100% believe the survivor, because Colleen Hoover said she didn't see the message, but then the message, when the survivor posted the message, it said seen, so it literally said seen, but because Colleen Hoover's a boomer, she didn't know how technology worked, so then Colleen Hoover actually got exposed. And then this incident also promoted how Colleen Hoover romanticizes abuse in her books and furthered that narrative, but it also showed that Colleen Hoover is hypocritical, because in It Ends With Us, she wanted to demonstrate how the cycle of abuse ends with her, but in reality Colleen Hoover herself carried that on into her son. And also her son's like entire first name and last name and pictures of him have been revealed, but the son didn't say anything at all. He's just instead airing it and hoping it washes over. Also, another Colleen Hoover beef is Colleen Hoover's opinion about trigger warnings. So Colleen Hoover says she doesn't want to include trigger warnings because it will spoil the plot of her book. So I understand that Colleen Hoover's like, okay, I don't want to spoil the plot in her book. But what Colleen Hoover could have done is she could have put like on one of the front pages, if you need trigger warnings, go to like page 400. And then on page 400, it tells you the trigger warnings. That way, only the people who want to see the trigger warnings will see it. And then they are more likely to read it because now they're informed. or like they're informed of like what pages to skip, etc. And the people who don't want the trigger warnings can just not go to that page and then they won't be spoiled. But instead, Colleen Hoover's like, no. And this is especially concerning since the majority of our audience are 12-year-olds and also who are like easily vulnerable. And also, literally, It Ends With Us is marketed as a romance and it's not mentioned that Ral is literally abusive. So people don't want to read an abuse story, they want to read a romance story, and then they only get 0.001% of Atlas romance. After this incident, we also have the Z Library scandal. So there was this pirating site for books called Z Library, and it was used for people to also get pirate-free books and also pirate expensive textbooks. So, and then basically Colleen Hoover stans are the reason it got shut down. So there are positives and negatives to the situation. The positives are obviously people who would have actually bought the book and just went on Z Library, now the authors will get more money. However, people who wouldn't be able to afford the book now don't have access to it on Z Library. And also people in like countries like, I don't know, in India, a book is like 1 trillion rupees, right? So then obviously if you're like, you can't get a book just like that, like, so then obviously people in countries that can't like get a bunch of books for cheap now no longer have access to those books, right? Because Z Library literally got banned because of Colleen Hoover. Except actually it got banned before, like a year before, in India and France. So then so then India and France were just like, guys, we've already been here, because the publishers in India and France got pissed. So but then for the rest of the everywhere else, it was the Colleen Hoover stans that ruined it. And also, it was used for students who have like textbooks that cost £1 trillion, and they're like, instead of wasting your money on the textbooks, you can now go on Z Library. So, rather than get an overpriced textbook that is necessary for your education. And also, what people say is they're like, oh my gosh, so I feel like what should happen is that, like, I don't know, maybe what I feel like is, I definitely do believe that everyone deserves free access to that everyone deserves access to books, but then I also believe the authors should be fairly compensated for their work. So it's a tricky situation. But also another argument people have is they're like, if someone pirates your book for Z Library on free, they could still leave a positive review, which leads to more people actually buying your book. Or it also leads to more people like people telling their friends, and then their friends might buy your book, etc. But then obviously it is annoying, because if people who can afford to pay for it and are super rich, or just like have enough money, and then they're still not paying for it and pirating it, that is actually sad if you're an author, because you're like, why are you stealing my money? But then, anyways, the whole reason it got shut down is because on BookTok, the Colleen Hoover stans, specifically the infants, kept on making a bunch of TikToks about, number one, like, oh my god, get Colleen Hoover books for free on Z Library. And secondly, how they can also, like, they gave step-to-step guides, and all of them were going insanely viral. So Z Library has been out for apparently ages, but it only got banned due to the Colleen Hoover stans. And there was this one TikTok that went insanely viral, and people were duetting it and being like, oh my gosh, like, you're literally trying to, like, they duetted the TikTok, and they were like, why are you doing, like, and they were like, the reason I can't afford any of my textbooks now is because of this TikTok. You ruined it. It was you. And then the original creator of that TikTok now deleted it. But basically, all the Colleen Hoover stans are the reason why it got, like, so known. Like, Z Library got so much clout, but then it got too much clout that it literally got shut down. So basically, because people really wanted to read Ugly Love, now students can't afford their textbooks, and people in developing countries can't even read any books. Anyways, currently on the 9th of August 2024, the It Ends With Us film is coming out. Anyways, this was the Colleen Hoover deep dive. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment. I'll be rizzed if you comment. And also, please subscribe. Also, give me other ideas, because I literally don't know what to film. Like, give me more ideas for deep dives. Tell me anything you want, and there's like a 90% chance I'll film it. Anyways, bye!